Hi, this is Mrs. Smith, room 308. This is the introduction to Latino literature. Essential question is, how is great literature intentionally crafted to explore enduring human themes transferable across time and place? Sorry. The learning outcomes of this slideshow is to identify the different genres of literature and explain the characteristics of each. Identify and analyze examples of each genre of literature. Create a piece of writing that demonstrates understanding of one of the genres of literature. So here's the definition of Latino literature. Latino literature is the updated version of calling Hispanic literature. So this is an updated term. So Latino literature are stories, novels, poems, plays, and essays written and conceived in English and within the existing borders of the USA by writers with cultural connections or family ties to Spanish Latin America. The purpose is for readers to grapple with issues of class, ethnicity, race, and gender, explore complexities of acculturation, immigration, and politics of cultural traditions. You don't have to write these down. If you want to just note just a few of these so you get the basic understanding, that is fine. So we have the whole, realm of literature, and then we have prose, then we have poetry. Under prose, this is where we read paragraphs. If you notice, all paragraphs. Narratives can be either paragraphs, written in paragraphs, prose, or it could be poetry. And then we have lyric and dramatic, which all is poetry. The features of our textbook, Latino Boom, includes a rich diversity of literary selections, brief author biographies, helpful footnotes that define or explain Spanish terms within selections, introductory chapters on Latino narrative and Latino poetry, extensive resources that place works in historical and literary context. So, when we're approaching Latino literature, the works are writing in English, but often include Spanish words and phrases. The works are bicultural. That's a word that I would think you would want to know. Different cultures affect the characters' emotions and actions. Readers must not only comprehend the readings, but also use the different cultural perspectives to understand and connect to the reading. Now, some readings demand that you withhold judgment and suspend your own convictions, bias, ethnocentrism, and xenophobic attitudes in order to appreciate alternative perspectives on everything from religious beliefs, foods, and traditional ceremonies to race relations, political attitudes, economic status, and the role of women. So I'm going to talk about use of labels. We use the term Latino rather than Hispanic because the word Latino is more deeply rooted in the Spanish language. Latina is only used when referring to females. 2. We recognize that using the term America to refer to the United States is not always justified in the eyes of those people with a perspective centered on South America, Central America, and Canada. The terms Chicano and Chicana, deriving from the political movements of the 1960s that began in force after 1964 with the Voting Rights Act, refer to Mexican American men or women who live within the United States. So we are going to be reading different narrative styles, chronological and non-linear. You might want to take a note on that if you're not sure what that means. So non-linear texts skip around in time and jump from narrator to narrator sometimes, forcing the reader to question the text and rework the events in chronological order. This stylistic complexity changes the reader to look beyond the literal meaning and to recognize the interpret symbolic, metaphorical use of the language. These types of works reflect the fragmented and ever-changing world. So within Latino literature, we have a type of genre that really comes from dramatic is magical realism. We have novels, short stories, novellas that we can identify as magical realism. Some authors use magical realism as a storytelling device to shake up certain ideological beliefs, stereotypes, and misconceptions that readers might have toward people and events depicted in their fiction. Some Latino authors use this stylistic style to describe certain systems of beliefs and ideas that, when presented in straight realist fashion, would seem like primitive superstitions. So there's a lot of recreating of the past, and Latino history is neglected, and then we'll talk about Julia Alvarez. So Latino history neglected. Scholars explore records and oral histories of the hidden past. Some works published were inspired by historical events. Oops. And Julia Alvarez, who wrote In Time of the Butterflies, recounts the tragic true story of the murdered Maribel sisters in the Dominican Republic. And yes, we will be reading that. So there's some Latino landscapes you will see in the book. It should be on my air vent. So you can grab one of those and go to page 25, where you will see a map of the Mexican-American War. Pages 26 through 30, you'll see maps of Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Mexico and U.S. border, and Central America. On page 31, you will see the turnabout map of the Americas. The timeline of historical and cultural events is on pages 32 and 41. So what you want to do is take the time just to read or skim through those events. And in your notes, you can answer, are there any that you already know about? You can pause the video to do that now. In Chapter 4, The Lost Worlds, we see challenges of exile, assimilation, and memory, themes of change, loyalty, spirituality, identity, the past. What we need to know is the USA is becoming Latinized. and that is what Chapter 4 focuses on. So beyond immigration, we have biculturalism, bilingualism, and hybridity. So you might want to take notes on these. Biculturalism is many authors in this chapter are second or third generation Latinos. And then for bilingualism, there will be more memory, nostalgia, family heritage, and assorted ghosts of the past. And for hybridity, they are about how people feel about the lost Latin worlds and in ways traditional aspects of the old relate to modern life. The mythic past world, there's safety and peace, and then there's some other motifs. For safety and peace, it is an acceptable premise that we all yearn for a return to some original homeland, a place of safety and peace, where life was ordered and understood, and where we were once innocent and free of sin, death, and time. What we will also see, other motifs, is our descending towards self-discovery, the indigenous past, and the African presence. So what I would like for you to do now is go to page 52 and read In Search of Epifano by Rudolfo A. Anaya. And that is pages 52 through 56, and you can pause this video now. Once you are finished reading, you can restart the video. So for each reading, I would like for you to use the notes on readings. In fact, I might even have this up here. Hold on. It's right here. So for the first reading, and you're going to see for each reading, I'm just going to ask for you to identify the setting, that is time, place, social milieu, culture. So what is the culture of that particular piece of writing? Who are the characters? And then what stereotypes do you see? And so that's what I'm going to have you do for In Search of Epifano. The reading strategy is to read silently as long as you listen to a dramatic reading by Mrs. Smith. And maybe you already read it. So thank you for listening. Bye. Oh, so here is kind of what I would like for you to do in the notes that I just showed you. Here is the work that you just read, In Search of Epifano. I enjoyed that one. I don't know about you, but I really liked the kind of paranormal feel that it got. The genre is a short story. And so what I would like for you to do is think about the setting, like where did the story take place? When did the story take place? How was the culture as well? Tell me who the characters are. I know there's one main character, but then we have, another or others maybe. And then what are some of the stereotypes that you see? And I don't think I define stereotypes. So what I would do if I were you is go to Google and look it up. And that way you can maybe understand stereotypes. A lot of times, what I do is look things up on YouTube, and YouTube usually has videos on the meanings of certain words. And I believe this is the last slide. So I hope you have fun with this piece. Have a wonderful day.